everybody, what's up? This is the show where I review my whole Steam library. This is number 4 out of 689 and we finally arrived at the letter A. This is the first of 39 reviews from games that start with A. Today I'll talk a little bit about ACES and adventures. As with most of these games, I didn't really know what it would be about, but I have to say that I was pleasantly surprised. I spent about 7 hours-ish with the game and I had a bunch of fun. So what is this game? I would describe it as a deck-building roguelike poker card game comparable to Slay the Spire, but also with poker cards. If you know how the poker power system works, you'll be just fine jumping into this game. A pair is stronger than a single card and 3 of a kind is stronger than a pair, etc. Not only do we have this system here, but we also have to think about our special ability cards that use certain suits and other modifiers the monsters or we might have. Even if you lose in terms of raw power, there's almost always something you can do with special ability cards to reduce or completely mitigate the damage you would take. There's also reaction cards that you can use to damage the enemy after he got through with an attack. I'll show you a small example of what I mean. The warrior has a perk that lets him take 1 less damage for each hard card he blocks the enemy attack with. So if the enemy would deal 1 damage with an ace, but I only have a 3 of hearts, I can still block that damage. In this case here, he has a pair of 9s and he should deal 2 damage to me. I don't have anything higher than a 9, so since I have that perk I mentioned before, I can block his attack with a pair of 4s. The fighting system might look confusing at first, but after playing for a couple rounds it will become easy to understand. What type of content is there in this game? You play as one of 5 different classes that each have their own decks, abilities and levels. I like the mage class the most, so that's where I spend most of my resources. The mage class relies a lot on spells and burn damage and not so much on attacking as other classes, at least the way I played it. You can unlock different playstyles with perks later on. There's 13 fully voiced campaigns where you have some encounters, choose where to go next and then have more encounters. At the end of this you fight a boss encounter. All of this is narrated by a nice old lady and I have to say that I like the voice acting a lot, as well as just the sound design in general. It's pretty crispy.
The mist halts at the mouth of the cave, afraid to enter. A faint orange glow feeds crumbs to your starving eyes. Thunder echoes through the cavern, but there was no storm outside. Strange silhouettes serpentine around stalagmites, eyeless creatures with crude weapons fleeing from something in the depths. This time, surprise is on your side.
After you finish a run, you get mana depending on how well you played. 100 mana equals 1 level and 5 cards you can build your deck with. This reminds me a little bit of Hearthstone. They even have the same mechanic of showing the rarity of the card on a mouse over. If you choose the level up option after beating an encounter, you can choose one of 3 perks, which is some passive class ability. At the beginning you can only choose one, the other 2 have to be unlocked through leveling up your class. I didn't understand how to level up your class in the beginning, because when you level up in the game you're not leveling up the class, so yeah, that was a little bit confusing. After a while though, I found out that you have to use the main menu to spend your level ups. You have to choose which class to spend your resources on. Each next step gives you some bonus, like starting each run with some extra cards or being able to unlock the perks I mentioned earlier. Needless to say, the variety of playstyles and possible decks is very entertaining. You could spend a lot of time on this game if you're interested in this sort of stuff. After beating a campaign scenario, you get a rating. The faster you were, the higher the rewards and the better you are graded. This could be cool for people that enjoy speedrunning and tailoring your builds to beating very specific scenarios. When I started, I was pretty slow in my first run, but it was fun to just kinda crack the next time limit and see how fast you can be. There's also some Slay the Spire, choose your own path kind of adventures that were pretty fun as well. Difficulty is handled in seasons. After beating the spring version, you unlock the summer difficulty, so all in all there's just a lot to optimize, discover and try out. Sometimes you get RNG'd and there's nothing you can do, but that's how card games inherently are, I would say. With all that said, what did I like about the game? Gameplay was an interesting, fresh experience. There's a lot of content, replayability and variety. I only played around with the warrior and the mage, so I still have a ton of other stuff to discover, and with all the perks you can unlock and all the different modes, I could be busy for a while if I decided to keep playing this. Also, like already mentioned, I thought that the voice acting and sound design were really cute. What did I not like about this game? Not that much, honestly. The only thing I could say is that it feels pretty bad going from a level 30 maxed out deck to a completely new one with weak cards and weak perks, so you kinda have to have a couple shitty runs to get up and running. Who should get this? If you enjoy card games in general, I think you'll have a good time with this game. Doubly so if you like roguelites, deck building and trying different and wacky builds. It's not the cheapest with a normal price of 20 bucks, so I would probably recommend waiting for a sale. The historical low is on €11.70. If you enjoyed this week's review, be sure to sub and I'll see you next week with another one. Good luck.